After many production delays, release issues, and exhibitor problems that the film is still going through, Talaivi is here in select theatres. I went to watch the Hindi version of the film today, trying my best not to read all the chatter that exists surrounding it, even though it has been all over my timeline. While publications who obviously do not align with Kangna outsider films have considered it to be an extremely mediocre commercial film, many of the film commentary channels, especially those focusing on Tamil and Telugu cinema, have raved about it being an engaging commercial drama with spectacular performances. Talaivi is a biopic based on the life of Jayalalitha. The film focuses on the journey of the celebrated and popular individual from her young days of acting, her budding romance with MGR, her introduction into politics, urged by the love of her life, the unfortunate demise of the political figure and acting legend, the hurdles Jaya faces in order to become the political heir of the party, dealing with the vitriol of the gatekeepers, mostly men, that constantly protected the vested interests of MGR, and finally her rise to prominence to become what we all know and remember her as, Talaivi. There is already chatter happening in the comments of how I'm going to be biased with the film just because I interacted with the actor, but squashing those discussions immediately, I'm going to be as balanced as I try to be with every review. So buckle up and keep your jammy ko kitne paise mile comments at bay, and let me tell you the good and bad aspects of Talaivi so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch it in select theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Prosthetics and bodysuit. Let's get one thing straight. I don't know the magnitude in which Arvind Swamy has used prosthetics and makeup, but it is uncanny on how similar he looks to MGR. Me not being privy to vintage Tamil cinema, and just through all the MGR footage that I've come across, Swamy looks like an absolute spitting image of the legend. But what the creators get right with his look, at least when it comes to Kangna Ranaut's concluding shape and look, it definitely comes across as jarring. While it is praiseworthy that Ranaut gained weight for the role to encapsulate the latter half of Jayalalitha's career, but if you technically look at it, she would have had to gain at least 30 to 40 kilos more to really look the part. The bodysuit and prosthetics in the concluding moments look borderline comical, with her face barely moving as she delivers dialogues. The skepticism that people had as they saw the trailer regarding the prosthetics and bodysuit actually makes sense, as in the film, it develops the same sentiment and feeling from the viewer. Abrupt cutaways. What is true and cannot be denied is that the film is presented at a particular scale and pitch, and hence there are many item pieces in which there are dramatic dialogues meant for a theatre experience. While most of these moments hit the right note and something that is aided by the commercial movie writing of Telugu cinema creators, what's also true is that the film almost seems to be in a rush to move on to the next thing. There are several moments that could have come across as great opportunities for Kangana to showcase her acting talent, giving her a cue to react to certain moments that could have emotionally elevated the film. But the editing abruptly either fades into a blackout or moves on to the next scene, not really letting a lot of the moments sink and breathe with the viewer. There are also moments of speeches which are deafened through a montage or a background score, which also could have been enhanced through the hard-hitting dialogues of KV Vijayendra Prasad and Rajat Arora. Expected beats and some opportunities. Going into the theatre to watch the film, you are already expecting the film to follow certain beats, and as it covers some of the most impactful moments from Jayalalitha's life, you are honestly expecting the trajectory in which the story will move forward. As this is based on such a prominent figure and so much information is already available in the public domain, there is little room for surprise for the creators. What I also felt was that when you look at the personal life of Jayalalitha and her relationship with MGR, it is a very thorny subject that in my opinion could have brought another layer if MGR's wife would have played an active role in the film. The dynamic in a marriage and the illicit affair could have sprung many cinematic possibilities. The role and influence of Sasikala in Jaya's life was another opportunity I felt was squandered, as she is more or less left in the background just assisting her. The good. Managing expectations. Upon discussing the film with Kangna Ranaut, you also realize the sentiment that the makers are going to follow with respect to the biopic. It tells the story with the intention of only empathy with respect to Jayalalitha's life. This does not mean that the film transitions to become whitewashing of the character, making her holier than thou, or issues are presented as if she is a victim of circumstance. She loves willingly, finds herself in several uncomfortable situations because she puts herself in the trenches fearlessly. A lot of people will immediately go to Mani Ratnam's Iruvar to talk about how it dared to focus on the illusion that exists of public figures and the skeletons that actually exist in their closet, in their personal lives. But the 1997 film is primarily focused on the dynamic between Karunanidhi and MGR. Both films differ in what the prime focus is and the pitch at which they are presented. Talaivi being more dramatic and presented with the intention of set pieces and dramatic dialogues, whereas Iruvar is more grounded in its approach. Secondly, the film focuses on the rise of Jaya to when she eventually becomes chief minister. So for people expecting it to focus on several controversial issues post her becoming CM, this is not going to be that film. An intimidating moment, however, in its conclusion is something that really shocked me, that the creators dared to do, and that is something that I will come to later. Background music. While I thought that the songs of the film assisted the theme and overall vibe of the movie really well, I genuinely think it is representative of the era in which it is set, and hence does not attract the current viewer as much as other musical albums that have released recently. This vintage quality to the music album holds true for films based in a specific era. If you remember the beautiful musical albums of Parinita or even Sudhir Mishra's Khoya Khoya Chand, they have an ability to transport you to a different decade in the past. G.V. Prakash Kumar has done a phenomenal job with the compositions, and hands down the background score that kicks in every time a dramatic dialogue is followed by a slow motion walk away, it perfectly encapsulates the character arc and growth of Jaya as a person, who initially despised the world of politics but takes it on as a challenge. The writing. What needs to be appreciated with respect to the writing by K.L. Vijayendra Prasad and Rajat Arora is that they give the pitch of the film a right balance, somehow resting between dramatic and subtle. See, who are you kidding? K.L. Vijayendra Prasad is the same man who is responsible for writing and providing the screenplay for films like Magadhira, Bahubali and Manikarnika. It would be ignorant of me to deny that the man has an idea of how to set up commercial dramas, ideal for a theatre movie-going experience. This resonates in several instances, whether it be the demigod-like treatment of MGR in Tamil Nadu in that era, the era of films and music in the 60s that is beautifully captured, the political landscape and a friendship that goes sour over the years, and the constant roadblocks that Jaya faces from the opposition and the people in her own party, mostly men. The writing allows not only for us as viewers to be invested in the journey, but gives it that extra punch that resonates in theatres and commercial cinema. Something that we have almost forgotten about as we have got so little of it in the last 1 or 1.5 years. The cast, especially the love story. You have to realize that more than this film being the story of Jayalalitha and her journey until she becomes CM, this film is essentially a love story between MGR and Jayalalitha. Before I get to raving about the two leads, I have to commend some of the supporting cast performances. I think the constant tussle between Jaya and R.M. Virappan, played by Raj Arjun, holds a very integral part of the movie, and he communicates his uncomfortable angst against the growing influence of Jayalalitha in MGR's life extremely well. This relationship, if you can call it one, really does go through an oscillating journey, but Raj Arjun does a phenomenal job in making it believable. While Bhagyashree in her brief role is spectacular and it was great to see her back again on the big screen, Nasser as Karunanidhi might be the only one with a performance that transitions to become a little more dramatic than it was intended. It is hands down Arvind Swamy and Kangana Ranaut's show all along. I'm actually blown away by how amazing Arvind Swamy was in this role. While still providing an understated approach in a dramatic film like this, his act beautifully resonates with the viewer. There is an effortless quality to his portrayal of MGR that almost baffled me. This man has signed several projects in the future, and it makes my heart happy that we will get to see more of him. He is such an integral part of why the film works so well. As I've previously discussed, biopics and the depiction of popular individuals often can either become a mimicry of the individual that is surface level, or people can make it their own, having confidence of their craft. And this is where Kangana takes the right decision in doing the latter. Her apprehension initially to being starry-eyed about MGR and her hardened personality in the conclusion are all conveyed successfully. For anyone to deny that Ranaut is convincing as Jayalalitha honestly need to do a double take and ask themselves if they already had set their mind on criticizing the film, especially Ranaut, rather than judging it solely for the craft we all witnessed on the big screen. The switch in her character, especially post her experience in Delhi with the Prime Minister, is my favorite era of her performance. She really shines when the character of Jaya has a confidence and purpose in the world of politics. Both the individuals are the heart and soul of Talaivi. For the writers to even dare to show the side of Jayalalitha in the conclusion as she becomes a product of her experiences is commendable. The concluding moments of Talaivi are quite horrifying, if you think about it, or what an individual becomes due to the frightening experiences. This film not only provides the hurdles that a woman may face in a male-dominated occupation, highlighting the prejudice and patriarchy that exists in society, but also provides a commentary on how one must alter or change to persist and thrive in an unforgiving world. How a woman who despised acting and politics became the person we all know her as works wonders from a storytelling point of view and marks another great return to influence individuals to storm into theaters. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.